Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. Tonight, we're kicking off our brand new format. Once a week, I'm going to be joined by some incredible people who love America. And tonight, we are joined by, I just got to say it, they're two of my best friends, senior advisor to the Trump 2024 campaign, Lynn Patton, and Turning Point contributor, and quite frankly, Erin, the most fashionable person I know, Erin Elmore.
I'll take it.
I hope you like your accolades. It's so true. As discussing what we were going to wear today on this show, I was like, Erin is going to show us up, so I'm not even going to care about it.
Me too.
But look, this is like, we all know that this show was originally named as sort of a rebuttal of sorts to The View. And we all know the ladies of The View. This is The Right View. You see what we did there. And so we're talking about kind of everything that's going on. And there's a lot going on, ladies, especially this past week. I mean, gosh, where do we even want to start? I guess we would start in Joe Biden's garage, maybe, beside the gas-guzzling Corvette. And obviously, I have a lot of thoughts as the daughter-in-law of a former president who had an unprecedented raid on his home by the FBI when he supposedly did something similar to what Joe Biden is accused of doing. However, we do know the differences, Erin, right? Because we know that only the president of the United States has the ability to declassify documents, which my father-in-law has maintained from the very beginning is exactly what happened to all the documents in question at Mar-a-Lago. Joe Biden, as vice president, didn't have that same luxury because you cannot declassify documents as vice president. It's been very interesting to watch kind of play out. What have your thoughts been?
It is very interesting to play out. And as you mentioned, the vice president does not have the right to declassify documents. And if you watch the liberal media, they'll try to point out that these situations are different. And because Joe Biden has been so forthcoming and cooperative, there are no problems. President Trump was completely cooperative as well, but at least he didn't have documents next to a Corvette and a badminton set in his garage. It looked like literally a pile that my son had of papers from school, loose leaf together. And as we all know, we've all been to Mar-a-Lago a lot. Mar-a-Lago in and of itself is the safest place probably in the United States. Yeah. Secret Service at the entrance, gate around the place, private security. Within within there, by the way, everyone is completely vetted. You can't just run around Mar-a-Lago like it's your own personal living room. Secret Service protect the president and his private residence. I never saw any documents. You barely can walk from one end to the other without being stopped just to make sure that you're safe and secure and protected in there. No, but a garage, they're not worried about that. They're not worried about Jill's undies. They're only worried about what Melania has because she's a Republican and we are conservatives.
I mean, I'm sure that there were some of them that were like, let's see what Melania has in her closet. Let's justify going in Melania's closet. And we know they did it, Lynn. Pulling the strings that's saying, all right, now Joe Biden is done. He served his purpose. We got the Democrats, in charge in the White House, at least. We've gotten through the midterms and, the Republicans really only took the House. Now he's done and they're over him. But who's doing that? I think that's the big question so many people have, right?
I mean, it's the hugest question that everyone wonders, like, is it Obama? Is it Ron Klain? We don't know, but what this does show us that these Democrats that are basically complicit with the downfall of America, like Joe Biden's up there doing everything he can to destroy the greatness of our country. And what are they going to do now that they're done with him as a useful idiot? They will discard him. They eat their own before they eat us. So anyone that's out there banging the gong for the Democrats, I will be protected. I will be safe. They will use you and abuse you and discard you. And that's what they're doing here to Joe Biden.
And I have to say that as a Black woman, I'm actually interested on how they plan to leapfrog Kamala Harris. Because everybody knows that she would actually perform probably worse than Joe Biden in the 2024 election. Right. So they have to do some fancy tap dancing because it's clear that they obviously selected her as the vice presidential candidate because of her gender, because
of it's going to be Gavin, right? Do we think it's going to be Gavin or Buttigieg or both? Because Buttigieg is obviously terrible at his job. He couldn't even get the potholes fixed in South Bend, but because he's gay, he's a great candidate.
But let me just say something. Here is the craziest part. Obviously, you look at the things for which Donald Trump was impeached while he was president, right? Mm-hmm. This should certainly rise to that level. And should Joe Biden be impeached, guess who is waiting in the wings? Guess who's next in line? It's Kamala Harris. Like we're in a bit of a pickle, and we all said this too. Remember back to in the 2020 election cycle, we were all like, wait a minute. They told you the reason they picked Kamala Harris. It's not as though it's because she has great merit or that she will be great at this job. They told us that it was based on how she looks. I'm going to throw another one out there in terms of who they're going to run in 24. You're probably right. It's probably Gavin Newsom. I guess Buttigieg might take another stab at it. I still think the one that they kind of waiting in the background and they're going to just jump out with it whenever it's the right time is Michelle Obama.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I think they will turn into running if it looks like Trump is going to win.
They'll have Oprah out there, little two besties, palling around. I mean, it's just whether or not if Michelle wants the job. I think that they will give her the nomination. Right.
And she said she doesn't, but obviously that's their trump card. No pun.
Be frightening as well.
Yeah.
It's a lose-lose for America, folks, is where we are. By the way, Erin, you brought up Buttigieg. I think it was you who brought up Buttigieg.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just want to real quick go back to a little less than a week ago, last Wednesday, I believe it was, when for the first time since September 11th, 2001, everything was grounded. Every plane was grounded in the United States of America. You look at the transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg.
He took 4 months, I believe, of paternity leave.
Yeah.
Whenever the railroad crisis was going on and we were about to go on strike, he was, I believe, in Portugal and tried to lie about it and pose pictures like he was in the United States. He's taken endless vacations, private jets everywhere. And I think he should be the one that is required to fly like the rest of us and see what it's like when there are boarding issues or issues with food service or issues with different like airlines having problems or runway traffic or baggage losses, because he can say, wow, I experienced this firsthand. Here's a solution. But no, let us eat cake. He's on a PJ to Portugal living his best life. And someone that's the transportation secretary should not be doing that.
And that was actually during the trucker caravan and the greatest supply chain crisis of all time. When
he rode the bicycle, he took an SUV and then took the bicycle out of the SUV for a photo op to talk about like greener transportation. It was such a staged photo op. But we're living in clown world now, and these are the things that these people do, and they can get away with it because they're Democrats.
I think the only person who actually enjoyed the shutdown last week was Sam Brinton, the 5-finger discount.
The greatest nation in the world. We look like the weakest, most pathetic nation in the world. That our FAA doesn't even have proper systems in place to get planes off the ground. It's absolutely absurd.
Yeah. The fact that it could literally sabotage itself is even more pathetic. It doesn't even take an outside hacker to do that.
That's it. They're done. They're a big problem. According to AOC, there is, and I quote, very concerning science around emissions from gas stoves, especially around cognitive development of young children, asthma, cancer, etc. So according to these, very astute women, we need to get rid of the gas stoves. It's just another thing that the Democrats want to get rid of. In their perfect world, I really kind of feel like everybody just lives in like a dark room with absolutely nothing going on, and that's how you live your life. I don't know.
We live in a dark room with nothing going on. They live in palatial estates with gas stoves and private planes and no paper straws and all the meat they can eat while we're eating cockroaches.
In fact, they actually posted a meme with all the people who do have gas stoves. It was Joe Biden, Kamala Harris,
AOC.
Nancy.
But AOC says it's not her fault because she rents.
Right.
I mean, what are we talking about? This is crazy.
All I have to say is that they can have my gas stove when they take it from my cold, dead oven mitts. That is like the best thing since sliced bread.
I know, and I have an electric one. I have an electric one right now because we're not in our forever house at the moment, and it drives me crazy. I miss my gas stove so bad. They do not work well, but the Democrats don't want us to have nice things.
They really don't. And honestly, I'll tell you from a professional perspective, I, perhaps little known fact to a lot of people, am a pastry chef. So I went to culinary school. That's the reason. I mean, Lynn, you know the story better than anybody. Go ahead, girl. You could just go ahead and say it for me. But But I went to culinary school. That's the reason I moved to New York City. And I can tell you, trying to cook with electric versus gas, it's just a completely different world.
I identify as
That's the thing.
Wait, Laura,
They're gonna
I
have
can't
to create
believe you were a
PSU.
pastry chef.
Oh, yeah. You didn't know that?
No, how did I miss all
Little
of this?
peanut butter bites I love.
Oh, I know. Everybody has their favorites. I made this like peanut butter concoction back in the day. Everyone used to love. I'm going to make it again sometime.
Can you make me macaroons, like French macaroons?
Oh, bien sûr. Absolument. Of course I can.
All right.
Yes. But Eric will tell you this is the best. He loves to tell people that I was a pastry chef I was in culinary school when I first met him.
Quinoa and that ice cream cake. Without the quinoa, he's not eating it.
If Eric wasn't dating Laura, or married to Laura, I don't know what would have happened.
To do is actually listen to us. Now, see, Erin is married to a man who really takes what she says and follows it to a T. And Craig looks amazing. Like the best outfits of any party when you go
dress him
anywhere. Yeah, he looks great. Eric, it took me years to convince him to kind of grow a beard, to part his hair a certain way. And all I'm saying on the ice cream cakes is if he asks for them, I will make them again. But I won't hold my breath because I think
can we go back to one thing about dating advice if we can? Because I know this is about politics. Any woman that's trying to meet a man and she's like, I don't like his shoes. I don't like his hair. I changed my husband's whole wardrobe. These guys will listen. They will listen to you. Buy them a fresh shirt and say, ooh, that looks good on you, honey. And give them 5 compliments. They're putty in your hands.
When I started dating Drew, he was literally wearing button-down, short-sleeve dress shirts.
Tony Soprano shirts, as his friends call them.
Oh, my goodness.
See, now I feel like this is informative on a lot of levels. So it's called Spare. I will give him credit. It set the record for the fastest selling nonfiction book of all times, which I was kind of shocked by.
I'm shocked too. But it's all his haters buying it in the media and the benefits.
They're hate buying it?
Yeah, they're
Here's what I'll say. I'm a big fan of the royal family. Truly am. One of my greatest experiences, truly of my entire life, was whenever we got to go, while my father-in-law was president, over to London, go to Buckingham Palace, meet the Queen, which isn't something that I never in a million years dreamed I would do. There was a moment while we were there where I'll never forget. My father-in-law it was just our family in a little room, and we kind of all looked around, and you could tell for him, he was like, this is it. Like, this is the big one. The fact that we're here, forget everything else. That's a big deal. So that's ladies.
So all I have to say is what happens in the Arctic should have stayed in the Arctic. Because
I'm about to have a complete meltdown. That's kind of disgusting.
Yeah, the Freudian implications that went along with that story.
He says he cut all the embarrassing stuff out of the book. Well, what else is there?
About Brazilian bum cream like the rest of us?
Yeah, that's where it's at, the Brazilian bum cream. If you don't know about that, I'm just going to suggest you check it out immediately because it's fantastic.
You need to show me tomorrow.
You don't know about this, Lynn? This is what I use all the time.
It's so good. She got me hooked.
But you can't get the one. Don't get the one in the blue jar. You got to get the one in the yellow.
Why?
There are several different kinds. There's one in a yellow jar, and then there's one in a blue jar. And this is back like years ago. This is probably 4 years ago. And I was constantly. They ran out of the yellow. You can get it at Sephora. Not that I want to promote, but you can get it at Sephora. I went there. They were out of all the yellow. I got the blue, and I'm using it for probably a couple of months. And one night, my husband looks at me. What?
Is it to prevent chapping or
it's
what?
It's just like lotion.
It's amazing.
And it smells amazing.
Okay. But
and Eric looks at me and he goes, that stuff smells like a urinal cake.
It was in Jill Zarin's VIP bag at her party this past summer.
Oh,
yeah.
I love
have to go
housewives drop.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know. I didn't get invited to that one.
Me neither. But I'll take it.
And I feel awful for everybody. I think it's a terrible situation. It makes me really sad. And I just think, sometimes you don't know who to trust other than your own family. And now he really doesn't have that. He's separated himself. And I just hope he doesn't live to regret it. But, you never know.
Well, didn't he say something, and I'm paraphrasing, like he's trying to save them from themselves, or how, like I'm trying to save them. It said, no, that's not what's happening here. Yeah. You're airing your dirty laundry incessantly while asking for privacy. So you're asking for privacy, but writing a book, asking for privacy, but sitting down with Oprah, asking for privacy, but doing a Netflix special, asking for privacy, but getting awards by taking a private plane to New York City. So all of the things that they're doing don't really add up to a picture of, I want to reconnect with my family, while you're airing all of their dirty laundry and making them all look terrible. It doesn't really make any sense. His actions and words aren't aligned. He should work in politics. That's what Megan should probably do. She'd be a great Democrat politician.
I think that's on her agenda. And by the way,
I just want to say before we go, because this has been very fun. I've enjoyed this very much, and time seems to be just flying by, ladies. Lynn, this past week, we did learn some really sad news. We lost someone who was very close to both of us, who we got to travel the country with, our friend Diamond from Diamond and Silk. I think a lot of people know her very well, know the two of them very well. They were at such a great opportunity, I think, to travel. I got to do it twice with both Diamond and Silk on the bus throughout the country, and I can tell you that we would go places and forget my last name. People were coming to see Diamond and Silk. They were flocking there, and you remember kissing all over them, Lynn.
I was chopped liver. I mean, if they didn't even recognize Lara, I couldn't stand a chance.
They celebrate her and the incredible human being that she was this Saturday. And on that note, ladies, I want to say thank you for joining for the first episode of the new Right View format, and this was a blast, and I'd say let's do it again soon. What do we think?
Yeah, let's do it in person and all together.
I feel like there should be cocktails next time.
Yeah,
well, there will be tea to spill next time, so don't worry, we'll be back.
All right.
Well, to Erin and Lynn, thank you for joining, and everybody at home, as always, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you back here next time for more.